Hello again, FA Nation. Justin Fensterman back with you with another Fantasy Football Stock Watch report. Let's talk about some of the players that are trending up and down when it comes to their fantasy football production potential. Let's hit that marketplace now. First, for a few players trending up, let's start with Evan Engram. Coming off of a monster game against the Titans in Week 14, Engram has scored in both of his last two matchups, and he's received 7 or more targets in both. He's now hit the end zone in 3 of his last 6 games, and the Jaguars will have to be in throw mode against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 15. But the targets have been there, and he has had a 16% team target share, third highest on the Jaguars behind Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Between Trevor Lawrence's improved gameplay over the last number of weeks, and that Dallas will likely jet out to a quick lead in this one, and because of the targets he's been getting, we can trust Engram and his 71% catch rate, even in a tougher matchup. There aren't many other tight ends we can look to trust, but he's been a top 10 producer by average at the position. Wide receiver trending up, DJ Chark. Chark missed a lot of time due to injury, but since coming back, we're seeing him prioritize more over the other Lions receivers not named Amon-Ra St. Brown. His targets keep improving week after week. He's recorded 94 yards receiving or more in both of his last 2 outings, and he's scored in 2 of his last 3 games. The Jets aren't the easiest team to throw on, but after receiving 13 targets in both of his last 2 games, and seeing Jared Goff needing to throw more lately, Chark should be able to continue picking up targets, and the Jets will prioritize taking St. Brown out of the game. Chark has been on the field for at least 84% of the Lions' snaps in his last 2 weeks. Final player on the rise, Isiah Pacheco. Even though Jerick McKinnon has been providing the flashy fantasy production, catching 3 touchdown passes in his last 2 weeks combined, Pacheco is the prioritized runner, and with a very appetizing next 2 matchups coming up against Houston and Seattle, we should see him featured a lot and getting double-digit carries as he has in 5 straight contests. He's scored in 2 of his last 3 matchups and has averaged no fewer than 4.7 yards per carry in 4 of his last 5 contests. It's harder to throw on Houston and Seattle, and Pacheco, who is rushing for 4.8 yards per carry for the year, is in a smash spot for these games. Pacheco just ran for 70 yards against Denver, and he faces them again in Week 17. Now for a few players trending down, let's start with Mike Evans. Evans may be allergic to the end zone. He got a 68-yard touchdown catch taken off the board because of a penalty on Sunday, and Evans hasn't hit the end zone since Week 4. He's scored 3 times all year, and lately, he's caught 4 passes or fewer in 3 straight games. He has just 2 100-plus yard receiving games this year, and he hasn't hit 60 yards receiving in his last 5 outings. We're used to Mike Evans giving us 1,000 receiving yard seasons, but right now he sits at 805 and has 4 games to hit the mark, which he has in all of his other previous years. He should get there, but it's still questionable. He's provided single-digit fantasy production in PPR in 4 of his last 5 weeks. Yikes. Is he still going to get the targets? Yes, but clearly he and Tom Brady just aren't connecting. Travis Etienne is also trending down. Is Etienne just not 100% healthy? He suffered a foot injury a few weeks ago and apparently could have returned to the Jaguars game against Baltimore, but the coaches held him out. He doesn't get much work in the Jaguars' passing attack, and Etienne hasn't scored since Week 9, and things aren't going to be easy for him against Dallas and the Jets coming up. We just saw Etienne run for less than 2 yards per carry on 17 carries against the Titans. The Cowboys rank in the top 7 in the league versus the run. He's rushing for 5 yards per carry this year, but he hasn't hit or exceeded his average since Week 8. Final faller, Mark Andrews. Andrews hasn't caught a touchdown pass in nearly 2 months, and the play of Lamar Jackson has definitely hurt him. But with him out, it could actually present Andrews with more opportunities as long as Tyler Huntley can stay on the field. How confident can we be in Andrews? He was held catchless the last time the Ravens and Browns met up, but he was apparently dealing with a sore knee. Andrews has caught more than 4 passes in 1 of his last 6 games. The Browns are one of the strongest teams at covering tight ends, letting up only a couple of scores to the position, and opposing tight ends are averaging fewer than 9 fantasy points per week against them. Why wouldn't the Ravens look to run a lot on Cleveland between the health of the QBs being in question and seeing J.K. Dobbins have a successful return? The game script will likely be against Andrews with fantasy seasons on the line in Week 15.